Good evening. Today is Sunday, June 1st, 2025, and this is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast, looking at where Bitcoin went in the last week and where it could potentially go in the future. So we are here at 105, $105,000 for Bitcoin, 105.5 pretty much. Overall, I mean, we're still pushing up. At this point, we've broken above previous highs. We've made new all-time highs. This area is pretty strong, but I just see so much tailwind on the way that would help the support price. So, I mean, here we talk pretty much about the charts to start out with, but I mean, I'm looking at the whole picture. I'm looking at it politically. I am looking at it from a social perspective, an adoption perspective. I'm looking at it from the technical perspective, the fundamental perspective, and all this other stuff. So it's really like kind of that 5D chess, and you just name those dimensions, right? You even got to look at Bitcoin from an energy perspective too. It's incredible technology. Anyway, I'm not gonna get off. We'll talk about the charts here. So we have the monthly chart that has been pumping strong for 3 months straight. So 1, 2, 3, boom. So this has been a really strong quarter for Bitcoin, and June I would suspect will be a pretty good month too. Good quarter for Bitcoin. So Q1 wasn't great. You had you up to inauguration, everything was fantastic, and then it was just boom all the way down through March, and then April started off going even lower, and then just continued on to the upside until we just recently hit all-time highs in May, a new all-time high of 112, and now we're just going to kind of recover that, and I'll show how this move back down. That's not unsurprising. So again, this is the monthly chart, and let's look at the weekly. Okay, so on the weekly chart, we have this move up, and this was again starting at the end of April. We bounced off the 50 moving average and bounced again. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row of green weekly candles. That's big. That's really big. And then like now we see some type of reversal. I mean, like let's see where it could go down to actually. I turn the on. You know what? I'll take that off for now. But basically, the fib level says it could get down to, 93. I think that's not realistic. Maybe back down to like 100, 102, something like that. But I just don't even see that being, super realistic at that point. So it really, all I'm saying is this is very protected to the downside. I'm not expecting really any strong pullbacks because if something bad was going to happen to Bitcoin, right, it would have happened here. Like this is about the worst of it. So like we're going this down slope, and then we have tariffs and everything here. Like we have this big economic shift and people are scrambling with the bonds. So this is the worst of it really. And then you see while things were getting pretty bad over the last couple of weeks, Bitcoin was doing nothing but rising. So this little small pullback that doesn't mean much to me. And again, like you're breaking all-time highs. You're trying to break this area here. Again, I talk about this white line. That goes from here all the way up here. It goes all the way up here and it touches this. So there were two initial attempts. There was an attempt here, an attempt here. Couldn't do it. We slammed down. You hit the 50 moving average one more time, and now we've come back to break it again. You got to break the all-time highs. You have to break the white line here, which again, this is a historically strong area, or strong trend area at least. But once that goes back, really, this was just a retest. It's really just a retest, and we'll see that on the daily chart. It's just going to continue on to the upside. Let's take a look. Yeah. So really, I mean, from here, you see this has just been a stair stepper to, hit the side, boom. Hit the side, come over here, boom. And then hit the side, come over here. It just keeps on leaping up and up and up. Once it gets to the bottom of this line. So it did finally actually break this trend line. But I think what it was doing, because right up to here, this was where that line was. This is where that line that I was talking about was. It came up to here and just kind of, ran down on a slant pretty much, came over to this side, and then it broke through it. And then it created a new all-time high. So it did two major things at once. It broke an all-time high and it broke this very strong historical trend line. So that's big. So now what it does is price retraces one more time. It retraces, it shoots up. There wasn't really a lift off here. that's fine. So let's just say that for argument's sake, we broke that here. That's done. I'm not worried about the all-time high anymore. Now we're worried about this all-time high. And you just keep on doing this over and over. Because now we're going to get to the period where we're just continuously making all-time highs. You see now we're really at a good area of support here on the daily chart. So if I do something like this and draw in this area, and I say like, okay, well, this is support. So, prices come down here. It's hit the top of this line, retested that, is tried to support. It has come down and swept up this liquidity here. And so all this is good. All this is really good. Worst case scenario, you see some type, there is still some imbalance in liquidity right here at 101. And then so you could see it come back down like 93. I don't see that being realistic. I do just think this is a retest, but I don't want to take that out of the realm of possibility to put it right there. So we'll see. We'll see how that ends up turning out. So that's all you can say. Running up to here, you have 120. I mean, at this point, it's just going to have to end up breaking these all-time highs. So it'll break here, and then it'll just continue on to the upside. So that's really what I'm thinking right now. And actually, yeah, let's look at the moving averages. Where are the moving averages at? So yeah, daily moving averages, it's still creeping up. So let's just say it comes back down to the moving average. That puts you at 100. It comes back down to the 50 maybe. And it's been a while since it even, came back to the 50. So there's that. It's being held up by, well, actually it did break the moving average right here on the 4-hour chart, but it's held up by this 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. So you can see that is still some type of, this was a downtrend, obviously. You had some type of sandwich here. I'll take this off, and I will take this off. But yeah, really, this is just support at this point. Let's see, we do have some type of trend line here, so we'll have to break that. Have to break that trend line, something like that. Maybe it's over here. I think that's more representative. So really, I mean, you could see something like this, and then it takes off, but who knows? We will have to break this area, 108. And then just from here, just keep on climbing. But I think that's it for the chart. No need to go too much lower unless you're day trading. But I think for the week, the overall direction is up. I mean, that's just based on my projections here. If it starts breaking below 100, then we may go down a little bit, but not too much further, because then you'll start running into daily moving averages right here. So. All right, enough of that. So we are looking at the news for the upcoming week. Not really too much. ISM, manufacturing, all this is nothing really in terms of Bitcoin. But non-farm payroll, that is on June 6th. We'll see how that goes. They're actually forecasting a lower non-farm payroll at this point. So that's interesting. Like, the labor numbers are really just not looking great right now, honestly. So they forecast here, and they beat it a couple times, but we'll see how the forecast lands on Friday. Again, not of too much importance to Bitcoin, but I do like to pay attention to what's going on with the labor markets, because that can, it's a good indicator for retail activity. I know at this point, Bitcoin has really become an institutional thing. It's not really for retail as much anymore, but it is something that you can profit off of for sure. And I think you can hold it for a long time, and it'll pay you back. It'll pay you back for sure. You'll get those returns, especially over the next 5 to 10 years. Once it gets past that, it'll start moving much slower. But really, in these next 5 years, you'll see some really, I think, stellar action. But we'll see. Crypto Fear and Greed Index right now, we are in neutral territory, so really kind of blah. Let's look at all time, right? So I like to break down here. You see, it's kind of like a slope. So much of the time you spend in extreme fear, then extreme greed. Well, extreme fear, then it's fear, then neutral with 700. So you see, it kind of does one of these things to where it's you don't really spend too much time on the extremes. You spend a lot of time in the middle. And it is cyclical, so that makes sense, right? So somewhere in this, we're kind of in this little area right here for neutral. Now, you want to see it start sweeping back towards, and actually we never hit extreme fear here. So that is something to note too. So November 2024 into January was the last time we saw any type of extreme fear. So even on all this dip, people were very optimistic about crypto. So we got a lot of extreme greed here all the way through February, March, April, and then we started. It's like, okay, well, stuff's dipping, but again, from here, it did run all the way. It had 8 positive weeks at this point. So at a certain point, people do want to sell, but you see, you didn't make a newer high here. There was no extreme fear, but now you see it's trending back towards greed. So we're going to see rising prices. We're absolutely going to see rising prices here pretty soon. Actually, let's zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit. This is just the last. This is since April. Yeah, so let's go here. So since January, actually, this is perfect. January 19th. In March, it was really just kind of ranging for a while. We made that new all-time high, and then just started to range. And then actually, it kind of picked up here actually for the fear and greed. I'm sorry, this is 2024. Yeah, this is that long period where greed did kind of pick up, and you kind of look for that. It's like once you start seeing flashes of greed, then price eventually is gonna elevate. You see a greed here, prices elevate, and then you get towards the top, you start seeing fear, then you start selling off or whatnot. But really, it's really what you want to do is sell in the greed area, buy in the fear area. Because that's when prices are ranging and whatnot generally, or they're about to range, one of the two. So we'll see how that ends up turning out, but it does look like we're gonna start trending back towards the greed area. Spot Bitcoin ETF flow. So this isn't something that I've looked at in a while. So we see over here, they're buying at a clip somewhere about a couple hundred million a day, per day, every day, just on Bitcoin. Stuff, the spot Bitcoin ETF flows. This is what's flowing into the ETF. So a ton of money. Let's see. Yeah. So at this point, as we can see, there hasn't been a whole bunch of selling. There was a ton of selling in February, and then and Bitcoin's prices dropped a lot during February. It really did. And yeah, but I mean, overall, there hasn't been that much selling. We're looking at the stuff below zero. Over here, not really much selling, a ton of buying in this area. So this whole swoop was just net positive. So really look at it from November coming into the election, and they were buying all the way through February and March and all that. And then you see, so they made their purchases over here. In April, they stopped buying. We're not the flows didn't come into the ETF anymore. But as time went on, the tariffs went up. They've started buying again. So I mean, I think this is a tool that you can absolutely look at and see when are ETFs buying? Are we in a period where they're buying? Because you want to be when they're buying, or seeing when a lot of people are flowing money into the different spot ETFs. So I think that's it. One last thing. GameStop. This is the big thing this week. So they had the Bitcoin conference midweek. So you have Memorial Day. Markets were closed. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe even Friday was the Bitcoin conference. On Wednesday, the 28th, GameStop released an official message saying that, hey, we bought 4,710 Bitcoin. And that's pretty good because, again, in my mind, they are the second domino. MicroStrategy is the first. They are the ones who really they're the first ones to really revitalize the corporate approach to crypto. Not even revitalize. They created something from nothing. Michael Saylor took a strategy and really ran it through to completion and has accumulated a lot of Bitcoin in the process. I mean, the most Bitcoin. You got Satoshi Nakamoto, the ETFs like BlackRock, and then you have Michael Saylor with 500,000 Bitcoin. So it's really good to see. So now you have GameStop, who I would consider the second major American company to publicly adopt Bitcoin. So this is historic. Actually, it's monumental because you only need a few dominoes. You get that first one going, then the second one comes, and now you start having 3 or 4 go quicker. So I think really what's going to be the driver of this cycle is the ETFs, number one, and the how do I want to put this? The growing corporate adoption. That's really what it is. It's like you're going to have a whole bunch of companies that kind of copy MicroStrategy. They're going to use leverage. They're going to buy Bitcoin. They're going to do all types of stuff with it. They're going to adopt it to their treasury. Institutions and corporations and countries at this point are going to be the main driver. So this is why I think that people are really underestimating how far Bitcoin can go, because in the past it was very retail dominated. Retail was a dominant factor in the last several cycles, but now it is institutions, it is countries, it is governments. Yeah, I mean governments, countries, companies, hedge funds, and institutions. All these people are going to be buying into Bitcoin because it's the new standard. So um, it's going to be interesting to see. And there's a lot more money. They have a lot more money than retail, so the moves can be pretty big. And I think we will easily. I'm not going to say easily. I think we could still. My original thesis was 250,000. I'm holding to that. I think we can hit 250,000 by the end of the year. Um, that's pretty much it. So we'll kind of stop it there. There's always more to talk about, but really, Bitcoin has been performing wonderfully these last several weeks, really 8 weeks straight. That it's been doing good things and created new all-time highs. And I just think now we're going to start seeing those all-time highs again and again and again. We got a lot of the stuff out the way, and Bitcoin will be a flight to safety. I really do believe that. So yeah, no, I mean, good times ahead. So. This has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check out your crypto-based resources on christalkscrypto.com, and I will see y'all on the moon. Take care. Bye-bye.